World History, Units 1 through 4 by Dylan Hall. Unit 1, Trade Networks, Silk Road. The Silk Road was a series of roads that connected Asian, Middle Eastern, and European trade networks. People from the East would exchange precious stones, tea, and silk for cloth, wine, and olive oil from the West. Some religions that were spread is Christianity, Buddhism, and Islam. The Mongols had a major effect on the Silk Road because they conquered almost all of Asia. They contributed to political institutions, economic development, and cultural diversity. The Mongols built canals for transportation and communication, which allowed goods to be transported much quicker. Trans-Saharan. The Trans-Saharan trade routes was a series of connections of trade routes linking from Western Africa north to the Saharan Desert. Some goods being transported include gold, ivory, slaves, cloth, pepper, salt, horses, leathers, and more. The exchange of goods also led to the spread of Islam religion between West Africans and Arabs. The Indian Ocean. The Indian Ocean trade routes connected East Africa, the Middle East, the Eastern Mediterranean Sea, South Asia, East Asia, and Southeast Asia, which allowed the good exchange of goods between these particular locations. Many goods were exchanged from places including China, India, Arabia, and Spice Islands. These goods included silk, pepper, cinnamon, nutmeg, wood, indigo, ivory, and more. Many religions were spread throughout this trade network as Arabs spread Islam and Indians spread Hinduism and Buddhism, which had a great impact on East Africa. Medieval Europe. During this time, the Crusades were organized by Christian powers trying to retake Jerusalem out of Muslim control. They took more and more Christian land, which led to a holy war. After 2 centuries of struggle between the East and West, Jerusalem reverted to Muslims for good, illustrating that the Crusades were a failure of the West. The spread of the plague was through rodents migrating through trade routes due to climate changes. This affected many people dying because of the plague. Unit 2, Renaissance Europe. Cultural changes caused by different and unique artwork led to the way art was perceived. The art way changed was to applying realism and human emotion to their artwork. It also sparked new ideas and techniques. This was a broad change into the New Age. The Protestant Reformation was the abuse of Catholic Church caused people to criticize it. It affected the people as they became full of anger towards the Catholic Church. The Spanish Reconquista as the cause from the Spanish invading Muslim forces from North Africa. This affected the Muslims as they were forced to live in ghettos and were excluded from mixed marriages and jobs. European exchange. Columbian exchange. It caused population growth in Europe by bringing in new crops, which shifted Europe towards capitalism. This impacted the earth by bringing diseases, depopulating cultures, and more. Mercantilism. It was caused to increase a nation's wealth and power. However, it impacted society negatively as it brought many acts such as slavery and an imbalanced system of trade. Slave trade. It was caused by colonialism and the need of power. It impacted negatively in Africa as they were kidnapped and transported to be enslaved. Native Americans. The cause of the decline of Native Americans is from violence and conflict with other colonists. The impact of Native Americans is large as they contributed to language, medicine, literature, and more. Spread of religion. It was caused by trade routes as people would often try to convert. This impacted the people as there were many different religions throughout different areas of the world. Unit 3, Revolutions. French Revolution. The cause was economic hardship, political conflict, and more. The impact of the French Revolution impacted the French as it unified and enhanced the French. Haitian Revolution. The cause was where the brutality of slave owners and inspiration of the French Revolution. The impact ended Napoleon's repercussions in enabling the expansion of slavery because of the Louisiana Purchase. Latin Revolution. The cause of the events were from the Spanish colonizing the Latin American people's land. The impact led to the spread of nationalism and liberalism. Industrial Revolution. Some of these inventions in technology include steam engine, printing press, cotton gin, and many more. This caused the rise of capitalism and imperialism. This impacted people as they created more jobs, increased trade, and enlightened a new era through inventions and ideas. Imperialism. The motive for Africa to maintain and control the supply of raw materials. The impacts to Africa were negative, such as resource depletion, labor exploitation, and more. China. This caused the Opium Wars between China and Britain, which eventually Britain won. The impact of the war led to population explosion, damaged economy, rich evaded taxes, and government corruption. Japan. The Meiji Restoration included the Emperor Tokugawa being overthrown and restored by another emperor. This caused changes to be made, such as dismantles feudal system, abolished privileges for samurai, concentrated political control in national government, capital moved to Tokyo, and more. The impact led to a new constitution, new leaders, new ideas, industrialization, and modernization, all coming from the West. Unit 4, World War I. The main reasons World War I was caused was from militarism, alliance system, imperialism, nationalism, and of course the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. During war, the conditions of soldiers were brutal as they lived in long trenches or ditches dug, in which their clothes were muddy, uncomfortable, and toilets overflowed. These conditions would cause severe medical problems such as trench foot. Outcomes of World War I include the Treaty of Versailles, in which Germany had to accept the blame, pay reparations, and bans armed forces. Also, the League of Nations, created after World War I to provide a forum for solving international disputes. Not to mention, the League of Nations failed. Interwar period. The causes of the Great Depression were from millions of acres destroyed, and European countries took on debt to fund the war and later repair the land. Also, overproduction from industrial goods and agricultural goods. This effect created an economic fluctuation from the printing of money and overproduction. Rise of fascism. The rise of fascism was founded by an Italian nationalist, syndicalists, during World War I. The countries who enforced fascism were Germany and Italy. The cause for Germany to enforce fascism was because of the fall of Germany from Kaiser and the Treaty of Versailles. The cause for Italy includes the invention of power and strong leadership. This affected them as it brought hardship and loss of basic human rights. World War II. The causes of World War II include the Treaty of Versailles, economic depression, failure of appeasement, militarism, and the failure of League of Nations. The Holocaust was a Nazi regime persecuting and mass murdering millions of Jews. The Jews were tortured and killed as they were sent to concentration camps where they were forced to work and then eventually killed. 6 million Jews were killed throughout the process. The outcome of World War II was a conference which was held in Potsdam, Germany, to set up peace treaties. The countries that fought with Hitler lost territory and had to pay reparations to the Allies. And these are my works cited.